What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another monthly ranking video. Another month has passed. It's now November and I've got 24 movies to rank for the month of October. This includes releases that, of course, that came out in October that I did see, as well as other films that I didn't get a chance to see until October that weren't released in that month. So here we go, guys. A big ranking today. So if you guys love ranking videos, physical media content, watch alongs, live streams, all that good stuff, also movie reviews, hit that subscribe button down below, that notification bell right next to it so you never miss a post. Hit that thumbs up and share this video. You guys know what to do. Anyways, guys, let's get right to it. All right, so 24 and 23 are in contention for the worst movies of the year. So let's just get right to it. So coming in at number 24, I have Honey, Don't. This landed on Peacock earlier in the month, so I decided to go ahead and check it out to see what I thought of it. And I thought Drive Away Dolls was fine. Like, it's nothing really groundbreaking. It's an easy watch for 84 minutes. But wow, this movie I thought was horrible. Like, the more and more I thought about Drive Away Dolls, I'm like, yeah, this movie is not very good. Like, I used to love that movie, but thinking more and more about it, I was like, it's really not that good. Like, the movie really has nothing much going for it. There is a couple good laughs, but there's really not much going for it. Like, there's so much jumping around, you can't really keep track of it. This movie takes that and times it by 11. Like, so much going on to a point where it actually feels like there's no plot. And apparently this is the second film in a planned trilogy that Ethan Coen is doing with his wife and Margaret Qualley. From the moment this movie started, I was like, this is going to be terrible, isn't it? And then all the way through the end, I was like, wow, this was a huge waste of time. Margaret Qualley, Chris Evans, and Charlie Day, I think actually are giving it their all. But Aubrey Plaza, I don't know what movie she was in because she was horrible in this. There's a couple chuckle-worthy moments, and it's not made terribly. But my God, dude, I just could not stand watching this film. Coming in at number 23 is a movie you guys probably have never even heard of. It's a little movie called Trust, starring Sophie Turner. I'll give it credit for this. Sophie Turner is good in the film, and it has a really interesting setup within the first 20 minutes, where basically you have this huge movie star, her iCloud account is hacked, and all of her private stuff is leaked, including a positive pregnancy test, and the person she once trusted hires a hitman to go after her. Great concept. Like, seems interesting enough for a movie. Good setup within the first 20 minutes. And what happens after that? Nothing but absolute stupidity. And I was just like, why? Like, this is the route you decided to go? This is not the movie I wanted it to be. Like, great concept, like I said, for like the first 20 minutes. But once it just gets to that point, like after the first 20 minutes, it just goes off the rails and never knows when to get back on. Like, and by the end of the film, like, I will say it's fast paced. Like, I'll give it that. But even then, that's like not a good reason to watch this film. Like, it's still really freaking bad. Coming in at number 22 is one of the most hilariously bad new releases I've seen in quite some time. It's a little movie called Rosario. So basically, this movie is about a girl after her grandmother dies, moves into her grandmother's house, and apparently there's this curse going around the house. When have we not seen that before? And this movie does it in the most hilariously terrible way possible, where I just could not hold in my laughter. And the film's intention was to frighten you. I couldn't help but sit there and laugh. Like, I just couldn't. I will say the film is not made terribly, and I do think our two lead performances are solid. But this is a movie where it's like, if you're looking for like a good, genuine, scary movie, you're going to want to pass on this one. But if you want to get together with some friends and just laugh at a movie for 90 minutes, I think this one would fit your bill. Coming in at number 21, a pretty big disappointment right here in Play Dirty. And what even makes this as big of a bummer as it is for why it's this low on the list, it's directed by Shane Black. Yeah, the guy who did The Nice Guys and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. A couple of my favorite films of all time. Like, I love those films so much. But then I remember he made films like Iron Man 3 and The Predator, which I think are bad movies. Like, especially The Predator. Like, that is one of the worst films I've ever seen. So going into this one, I was like, okay, Shane Black, you got a chance to redeem yourself. Let's see what you got here. And this was a big misfire. Mark Wahlberg, I don't know what movie he was into because He tried to play like 3 or 4 different characters in one movie, and it just wasn't working out. But Lakeith Stanfield and Rosa Salazar are giving decent performances, couple laughs, but none of the action in this film was even that impressive. It's heavily reliant on CGI, which is a huge bummer. So, can we just go back to the glory days of Shane Black, please? Like, can we get another Nice Guys movie, please? Coming in at number 20, I'm pretty sure a lot of you were expecting this not to be very high. Tron Ares. I'm not like the biggest fan of the Tron films. I think they're watchable, fun movies with great visual effects, even though the first one's dated for sure, and the Tron Legacy has some pretty bad CGI. This film kind of has that same case where it's like, it's visually good, and I think the soundtrack's incredible, but I think this is the worst out of the 3, because this film really has nothing to offer in the story department, as well as even the character department. Like, Greta Lee and Jared Leto, I will say, are giving it their all, but Evan Peters, I thought, ruined this film. Like, he was awful in this. Like, he plays as this over-the-top villain of this AI corporation, and I don't know what he was doing, man. Like, he tried to be super over-the-top, and it just did not work out. But I don't know. If you're a Tron fanatic, I mean, you probably saw this film, but it bombed, so we're probably not going to get a 4th one. So, but like I said, if you're a Tron fanatic, go and watch it, have some fun. But for me, as for someone who's not like a huge fan, this one was pretty hard to sit through. 19 through 16, I would say, are decent movies that I probably will never watch again. So coming in at number 19, I have a little film called The Woman in Cabin 10, starring Keira Knightley. It's an interesting premise, even though we've seen it all before. She plays as a journalist that boards this cruise, and so apparently something sketchy is going on, and maybe her company that she works for as a journalist is hiding something. We've seen that concept done millions of times before, done to death, and done much better than this film. It's a watchable film for a great Keira Knightley performance, and there is some good intrigue in here, and it tries to offer up enough unique ideas, but none of it really works in the slightest. Like I said, it's really harmless, a watchable film, but it's not a movie I'm ever gonna watch again. Like, I watched it and I was like, okay, that was a movie, and I'm gonna move on. Coming in at number 18 is another movie you guys probably have never even heard of. It's Maintenance Required. It stars Madeleine Petsch, and it premiered on Prime earlier in the month. This was a decent rom-com. Like, it's a certainly watchable film. How this film was played out kind of reminds me of the film The Hating Game with Lucy Hale. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I enjoyed that film, where basically it's, like rivals on like 2 different sides, and they end up falling in love with each other. In The Hating Game, it's basically like, office co-workers. And this one, it's basically rivals of like, mechanic shops. It's a decent, watchable film. I think the romance is good. Like, there is some very sweet moments in here. Madeleine Petsch, I think, is a very talented actress, and I think she does a very good job here. Has great chemistry with a lot of the other actors, especially our main guy, who's our love interest here. He does a very good job. The film is not, like, the worst movie you could ever watch. Like, if you have, like, a girlfriend or significant other, and you want to watch a rom-com that's streaming, you could do worse than this one. Coming in at number 17, a huge disappointment in my book, and that is VHS Halloween. As for someone who loves the other Shudder VHS movies from 94 all the way to beyond, like, I love all those films. For this one to be my second to least favorite in the entire franchise is really, really sad to say. There's a couple of good shorts in here, and there's one of them that revolves around Halloween that is actually pretty solid, but really none of the shorts in this movie, like the way that they were directed, really stood out to me at all. It's not quite as bad as like VHS Viral, but it's not anywhere near as good as the other ones in my opinion. If you love the VHS movies, I definitely would recommend you watch this, but I don't know, like for someone, like I said, who loved the last 2 films, especially VHS 85 and VHS Beyond, I expected this film to be great, and I was left very, very underwhelmed with this movie, so that's disappointing. Coming in at number 16, I have Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Jeremy Allen White makes this film watchable, and if he gets an Oscar nod for this, good on him, man, because I think he did a fantastic job here as Bruce Springsteen, like, capturing like how he is, like, you know, like how he talks and how he performs on stage. He did a very good job here. It is a good depiction of self-doubt, depression, and burnout. Like, it does a very good job depicting that. It's well made. It's also well performed by our supporting actors from Jeremy Strong and Paul Walter Hauser. But this is a movie where I feel like it will appeal way more to Bruce Springsteen fans. I'm not like a super duper fan of Bruce Springsteen. I like his music, but he's not like one of those artists that stands out to me personally. But I will still acknowledge that he is a legend. But also one of my biggest problems with this film is that it only goes behind the scenes of the making of his album Nebraska. It doesn't really tell the life story of Bruce Springsteen, which I was walking in expecting. All it does is that it just tells the making of his album. That's really all it offers to you. And like I said, for someone who's not like a huge fan of Bruce Springsteen, I walked out very underwhelmed. So again, if you're a super duper fan of Bruce Springsteen, you will love this movie, guaranteed. Like, you are going to love this movie. For someone like me who's not like a huge fan, I like his music. It was okay, honestly. Like, I might watch this one again, but it's not a movie that I'm in a hurry to rewatch. Coming in at number 15 is a movie I actually bought on Blu-ray and decided to watch, and that is The Home, starring Pete Davidson. Comes to us from the director of the first 3 Purge movies, where you have Pete Davidson. He gets assigned community service to this nursing home, and basically there's one simple rule. He can't go to the 4th floor, otherwise crazy stuff will happen. The first 2/3 of this film, I think, are insanely forgettable, even though Pete Davidson pulls off a very, very good performance. But once it gets to the 3rd act, it goes balls to the walls insane in the 3rd act, which I thought was awesome. Like, the 3rd act was tons of fun to watch. So, and basically one of my friends kind of made this point, and I think it's actually a pretty good point. It's basically Get Out, but in a nursing home, and it stars Pete Davidson. I think that's a very good point, but you can't really match this on the level of Get Out, to be completely fair. But it's still a solid film. I would not mind watching it again. I'm glad I own it in the collection. So coming in at number 14, I have Vicious, starring Dakota Fanning. This comes to us from the director of the first Strangers film, and there's a great idea here and some really good gore and a fantastic performance from Dakota Fanning. And a lot of this film has really, really dark lighting, which how they handle it for this movie, I actually think is very, very well done. There are like some great ideas that seem unique enough, but when you see executed in the film, it doesn't quite like come up to its full potential, and the ending doesn't really work for me. But other than that, this is a pretty solid horror film that I wasn't expecting much from, and I left pretty surprised. It's a pretty solid horror film that if you're looking for something to watch on Paramount Plus, this is one I would recommend for sure. Coming in at number 13 is another movie you guys probably have never even heard of. I checked it out on Netflix. It's a little movie called The Penguin Lessons, starring Steve Coogan, who plays as an English teacher who makes an unlikely friendship with a penguin. This was a very, very charming movie with some really good dark dramatic elements and some good comedy thrown into the mix. This was just a very solid movie, like overall. And Steve Coogan, I think, turns in an excellent performance here. Like, I think this film, if I remember correctly, is similar to a film called My Penguin Friend that came out last year. I have not seen that movie, but from what I've heard, they are very, very similar films. And they're both based on true stories, which is very interesting. Like, this is interesting that it was a true story. So if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, like just a movie to kill some time, this is a solid one. Like, for a little hidden gem that honestly not many people know about, this is a pretty good one. So check it out on Netflix. Coming in at number 12, I have The Roses. This is a movie I did not know was a remake to a movie called The War of the Roses, starring Michael Douglas. Believe it or not, I never knew that after seeing the trailer until my mom explained it to me that basically that movie was a remake of The War of the Roses. Like, it was very similar to that film, and I was like, I've never seen that. I've heard about it, but never seen it. But I still have not seen the original War of the Roses. I do want to someday. But this one was pretty good, dude. Like, I really had a good time with this one. Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman were terrific together. Like, their chemistry and their bickering, They were really funny. You also got some really good supporting performances here from Kate McKinnon and Andy Samberg. Good direction from Jay Roach. But I will say, of course, like most comedies, not all jokes hit. There is some pretty slow pacing because this film clocks in at nearly 2 hours, and I think it overstays its welcome a little bit. And the ending was really off kilter. Like, it goes for like a really dark ending, and then it just ends. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You went for something dark here, and then you're just gonna cut it off like that? What are you doing here? But overall, this is a pretty funny movie. Like, offers up a lot of good laughs, some really good, like, bickering between Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, as I said before. If you're looking for a movie to watch on streaming, definitely check this one out, especially if you have seen The War of the Roses, which, if you guys have, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Definitely check this out, man. It's a pretty solid movie. Coming in at number 11, I have The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, the 2025 version. I'm going to say this before I continue. I own the original on Blu-ray. I have not seen the original, so going into this one, I was just going in not having seen the original. So, anyways, I'm going to continue. This was a solid remake. I think Maika Monroe delivers a really good performance. It's really dark and icky at times, but it certainly does a very good job with actually kind of giving you that feeling. But I will say, of course, this story is very generic and you've seen it done a million times before. I mean, of course, this is a remake to a 90s classic from what I've heard. I've heard the 90s version is way darker and way more messed up than this movie, but I do want to check it out because of how much I enjoyed this remake. So, if you have seen the original, or if you haven't seen the original, this was a good remake. It's on Hulu right now, so I definitely would give this one a watch. Coming in at number 10, I'm actually very shocked how much hate this movie is getting. Regretting You. I was not a big fan of Colleen Hoover's previous adaptation, It Ends With Us. I did not really like that movie at all. So going into this one, the trailers looked good, and I wanted to see what Josh Boone had up his sleeve after he did The New Mutants, which was not all that great, but I love The Fault in Our Stars, so I wanted to see what he could do with this film, and I think he did a pretty solid job directing this movie. It's really, really well acted from our 4 leads. It's got some really funny moments. It's got its sweet moments. But I will say, like, when it comes to, like, the reveals in the third act with what they try to go for, it's like, it just leaves you scratching your head and you're just like, what kind of sense does that make? Like, what kind of sense does that make? It also has its rom-com cliches, and the movie also clocks in at nearly 2 hours. Also, like I said, with the roses, it didn't really need to be. Like, it kind of overstayed its welcome just a little bit. But as for someone who wasn't a fan of It Ends With Us, like I said before, I was actually kind of surprised how much I enjoyed this film. So it doesn't deserve the 30% it has on Rotten Tomatoes last time I checked. This is a good movie, but if you're not a Colleen Hoover fan, like if you just like do not like her books whatsoever, I totally get why you don't like this movie. But for anyone that hasn't even like read her books or anything like that, give it a chance. Like, honestly, give this film a chance. It's a pretty solid movie. It's not too bad. If you're looking for a movie to go watch for date night, this is perfect for date night. Coming in at number 9, I have The Smashing Machine, Dwayne Johnson's attempt at getting an Oscar nomination. Now, I will say this. Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt give Oscar-worthy performances. Like, they are terrific in this film, especially Emily Blunt, who should get nominated for Best Supporting Actress. The fight sequences are really well done. It's really, really well made. Like, it kind of gives you that late 90s feel and aesthetic that Benny Safdie is going for. It is really well made. And like I said, like the whole, like, also the arguments between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson is also really well done and executed. But here's my biggest problem with this film. It's very repetitive. It's got a ton of sports movie cliches that you've seen done a million times before. And also, I think the third act of this film, like when it comes down to like the final fight and also like another argument between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, and also when it cuts to like present day, this film is incredibly rushed in the third act. I was like, so how do we go from here to here to here? What? Like the final fight that this film is like building up to, it never really like comes to fruition. Like it just happens and it's like, oh, next scene. Really? Like, you got to do it like that? But Benny Safdie did a very good job directing this film. Like I said, really well acted, really well made, great fight sequences. It's a movie that I think is very, very good. But will I ever watch it again? No. Like, this is a movie that I think is very good for a one-time watch. I will never watch it again. Number 8 is a little hidden gem movie that came out on Apple TV Plus in October. That is The Lost Bus, starring Matthew McConaughey. This is from director Paul Greengrass, who directed United 93, Captain Phillips, and some of the Bourne sequels. This was a really, really intense movie that took place during the California wildfires, and Matthew McConaughey plays as this bus driver that is driving this bus trying to get these kids home while driving through the California wildfires, which was absolutely crazy. It was like the biggest wildfire that took place in California. McConaughey and America Ferrera, I think, are amazing in this movie. It's beautifully shot. Like, the effects of the fire kind of reminded me of Backdraft. Like, they did a fantastic job here. But I will say this film is very, very slow. Like, I will say, like, it's mainly slow within like the first like act of the film, but like once they get to this situation where he has to drive the bus through this wildfire, I think that's when the film honestly picks up the pace, and it's just a non-stop thrill ride from then on out. So I wish I could have seen this movie in theaters. I know it had a limited release, but it never came to a theater near me, so I didn't have a chance to see it. But this is a really, really solid film with some great performances, some really great direction from Paul Greengrass. If you guys have Apple TV Plus, I highly recommend this one. Coming in at number 7, I have Good Boy. Yep, the indie horror film that is told through a dog's perspective, which is very, very unique and different for a horror film. You never really see much horror films that are told through a dog's perspective, and it is very, very well done. I will say, despite the fact this film is only 70 minutes long, it kind of moves at a snail's pace at certain points. And you've seen this story done many times before, but you just never really seen this story done through a dog's perspective, which, again, is interestingly done. So it's a really, really good movie. Like, it's a really well done film. It's also very sad in certain moments. If you guys love dogs and you want to see a dog-centered horror film, you've got this one. Definitely check this movie out. I think it's going to be on Shudder within like about a month or so, but I absolutely would recommend Good Boy. Coming in at number 6, speaking of hidden gems, Good Fortune. This was such a fun comedy that I'm so glad I got to see in a movie theater. Like, I miss when comedies would come to theaters. Like, you would just go to the movie theater, watch a comedy, and just laugh. At least we got that this year with A Naked Gun. But this is just a good old-fashioned comedy with some good laughs and also a really good amount of heart. Aziz Ansari did a very, very good job directing this movie, and I do want to see him. I do want to see him direct more movies. Seth Rogen, he's hilarious as usual, and Keanu Reeves steals the show as Gabriel. He is hilarious in this movie. And this movie also does talk about like relatable topics in regards to normal people and also finding jobs. And also has some interesting messaging, like when it comes to rich people. Like, this is basically another variation of It's a Wonderful Life. It's basically It's a Wonderful Life just starring Seth Rogen. Like, that's kind of basically what this movie is. This was still a very, very solid comedy. It's not going to reinvent the comedy wheel by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're looking for a good comedy to just go watch in theaters, I highly recommend checking out Good Fortune. All right, 5 through 1. I love all of these films. So coming in at number 5, I have Bone Lake. If you guys love horny horror films, then you are honestly going to love this film. It has some really weird inserted plot points that just don't really work for this film. And also, you do kind of see the reveals coming a mile away, like especially if you've seen something like Speak No Evil. This is basically another version of Speak No Evil, but if you had Alex Rowe in the James McAvoy role, like that's basically what his character is. And I think he does a great job here. There's great performances. It's very funny. It's got like a good balance of like really dark horror moments as well as like some really solid comedy here. Like really good stuff. And I think the third act, like final battle, I actually really, really liked. I know some people didn't. I actually liked the third act final battle on the boat. It is a little bit anticlimactic, but I still think it's actually pretty well done. So like I said, if you love horny horror films, you're gonna love this movie. So I absolutely recommend checking this out. Coming in at number 4 is the 21st century trauma film. That's right, The Toxic Avenger. I loved this movie. As for someone who really enjoyed the original Toxic Avenger, I have not seen any of the sequels, nor have I really cared to. I have not heard anything really good about them. But the first one I think is a ton of fun. Like, it's definitely trashy and offensive, but that's kind of what makes Toxic Avenger so fun. And for this to be like what we get in 2025, like especially with how you can't really make the original Toxic Avenger today, with how they do it with this one, they did a great job. I don't think they could have done a better job. I will say there is some pretty distracting CGI. Like, the film is definitely overstuffed with CGI. Like, there's some good moments of CGI, but other ones where I'm like, I don't know. Peter Dinklage as Toxie, he is awesome in this movie and such a badass. So if you guys love the original Toxic Avenger, absolutely check this movie out, because I think this film does capture the magic of the original Toxic Avenger in the best way possible. Number 3 and number 2 kind of flip-flop a little bit, but I had to think to myself, which one am I going to watch more? So I had to be honest with myself. So number 3, Chainsaw Man the movie. Funnily enough, I actually just got into Chainsaw Man. Like, last week, at the time of recording this, I actually binged watched every single episode of Chainsaw Man. And then on Halloween with my best friend and one of my coworkers, we went and saw this film in an empty theater. And this was an absolute blast from beginning to end. Like, it captures pretty much everything that the show is known for with its weirdness, its over-the-top stuff. It's really, really well done. The first half of this film is a romance movie, but when you get to the second half, it is carnage-fueled insanity, which is basically kind of what you come to Chainsaw Man for, and it is well done. If you're a big anime fan, if you were a fan of the manga of Chainsaw Man, or if you watch the show, definitely go seek this one out, like, because Chainsaw Man fans are going to love this movie, like, guaranteed. But if you're not, go see something else, but I would still say give this a chance, because my friend, he had not seen a single episode of Chainsaw Man, and he really enjoyed it. So even if you haven't seen the show Chainsaw Man, I still would say go out and see it. It's a lot of fun. Coming in at number 2, I have Roofman, directed by Derek Cianfrance. Never would I have thought that the guy who did Blue Valentine would go on to direct a movie about a real-life person who robbed 45 McDonald's, escaped from prison, and lived in a Toys R Us for 6 months. Never would I have thought that. And also, crazy, like absolutely crazy that this is a true story. Like, if you guys had told me that this was a true story before I had even seen the trailer for this film, I would have told you guys are crazy. And then as soon as the words based on a true story popped up in the trailer, and even especially in the movie, this is a true story, I'm like, wow. Like, I can't believe that it's a true story. But besides that, this film is great. Like, it's funny. It's got its great dramatic, dark elements. Like, especially when you get to the film's finale. Channing Tatum delivers his best performance of his entire career. Like, he does a great balance of his comedic shtick and also with his dark, emotional beats. Like, he does a great job with that. Kirsten Dunst is great. Lakeith Stanfield, Peter Dinklage, Juno Temple. You also got Ben Mendelsohn in here. Great direction from Derek Cianfrance, and it's also really, really well made. Like, it was shot with film, and you can definitely see like the film grain when you watch it, because this film takes place during 2004. I freaking love that. I think this film was so well made with like production, cinematography, really well acted. This one has my utmost recommendation for you guys, so definitely go check this out. But coming in at number 1, this really should not be a shocker to you guys. It's Black Phone 2. As for someone who adores the original film, I was hesitant when a sequel was announced, but when they said that they were going to go the Freddy Krueger route with The Grabber, I was like, sign me up. And after seeing the trailers, they won me over. After seeing the movie, I was completely won over. How they do like expansion with the lore and how they try to connect everything is really, really well done, with some great direction from Scott Derrickson. Beautiful cinematography also, like especially when he gets to the dream sequences and it's got that like VHS style grain that Scott Derrickson did with the first Black Phone as well as Sinister. Great stuff here. Also great performances from Madeline McGraw and Mason Thames, especially Madeline McGraw, who stole the entire film. But Ethan Hawke once again as the grabber was incredible. It also had a great idea setting it at a winter camp, which was a really intriguing idea to set the movie at. If you were a big fan of the first film like I am, definitely go check this out. If you were not like a huge fan, you were highly disappointed in the first one, I can honestly guarantee you're going to enjoy this one more. That is it, guys. That is all 24 films ranked for the month. Man, I'm exhausted. But we got some great films to look forward to in November. Like we got Predator Badlands, Keeper, Running Man, Wicked for Good, and Zootopia 2. And also another one I want to throw in there, Sisu Road to Revenge. I love the first film. Can't wait to see that. So once again, hit that subscribe button down below, that notification bell right next to it. Hit that thumbs up and share this video. You guys know what to do. Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.